Well, welcome everyone to another tour. This one's a little different. We're going to be looking at Unicoi State Park and Lodge just outside of Helen, Georgia. So let's get started. Buckle up because we're actually going to be driving a lot, and you'll see this place is massive with a lot of twisty-turny roads. So here we are on our initial road. And you can see they have these like wine barrel or whiskey barrel looking kind of bomb shelter looking.
That's what they look like.
Yeah. And then there's one of the zip lines right there as well. And then they have some other cottage types coming up here as well. Yep, they all have little balconies as well, but it looks like there's more zip lines over here. So again, this would be part of that Zipline excursion from the lodge that you will see later. Now don't let the entrance fool you. It is, yes, a twisty-turny long road, but we're basically at the top and working our way down into the valley to where the campsites are and the main lodge area. All right, we're going into the lower area. Again, more single campings. This is site 1 through 17, I want to say, or 16. And then we also have the glamping, and we're going to do a little UV down here, but let you guys see the glamping. All right, so there you go. You can see the glamping tents. Looks like they do have water and power for you. Also, they do have AC. All have picnic tables, fire rings. So, there you go. That's what the glamping looks like. And over here to the left, that's the dump station. They do have dual dump stations, but again, it would be a fairly tight fit with 2 in here. We actually did dump when we first got here and had to really cut that edge on the outside. But 2 dump stations and trash, which I do like that because most of the Florida state parks do not have trash near the dump stations.
For real.
And it's like, I need some place to throw away my stinky, smelly glove. On the road again, I just can't wait to get on the road again. We keep on driving into Unicoi Lodge area. So this is the Laurel Ridge area. This is where we are staying. This has water and power. And it looks like I have seen like maybe 1 or 2 sites that have full hookups, but most of this is just water and power. These are also going to be single sites as well as a double buddy site. And this is 30 through 52. Now, as far as a buddy site goes, these are actually pretty narrow for buddy sites as well. So it's doable, but it would definitely be difficult. And they're not pull-through sites. So unless you've got a really short camper, you're going to be facing having to both back in, which means your doors would not open to one another to have like a nice fully covered area. But these sites are not bad. They're not too bad.
They have a nice space between them. They have a nice space between them. They're not like right up and next to each other. There's at least a good 20, in some cases 30 feet, I would think.
All right, we are swinging around now to see the official Vistor Center. let's go ahead and hop out and take a look around. So right outside the lodge is a nice little community fire pit where you can sit and hang out in the evenings. There's also a walkway, lots of hills here, so be prepared, that takes you out to the amphitheater and the Squirrel's Nest area, which is more primitive camping. Also right outside the area are the archery targets. This is an additional cost. And actually this might not be the archery. I think this is the axe throwing actually. Yes, this is the axe throwing area. But again, an additional charge. And then we'll get there in a moment, but right down there is the water with kayaks and things like that. But first up we have is the actual Vistor Center itself. So let's go ahead in and let's take a look at the Vistor Center. All right, so as you can see here, it is completely pet friendly here. They just don't want any wet pets inside the Vistor Center. It's open Thursdays 11 to 5 and Friday through Wednesday 10 to 5. And there is a phone number if you need to check in. But let's go in and take a look. As you can see, here is a lot of merchandise that you can buy with the state park's name on there. There is some fresh bait you can buy too, as well as a variety of different camping equipment that you might need. We'll just take a quick walk. Looks like over here on this side is a little recreation area. Ping pong, foosball, some TVs. Looks like there's a microwave over here, as well as some books and games that you can look at.
Hey, good sir.
How's it going? How's it going? Then it looks like over here on this side is a little museum and back information, and they do presentations throughout the week as well.
We are about to head to the range for 12:30 area. So we'll be back probably around 1:30ish. If anything bugs, I'll have you watch that right there. Check it out.
Cool. It's a pretty cool little setup in here. All right, and that does it for the interior of the lodge. All right, so as we continue walking, you can see there's lots of chairs. Some of them are the wooden rockers. And actually, the amphitheater is right there. We'll actually walk there before we go down to the water. But periodic fire pits and fire rings that are around this area. There's definitely a steep incline. I can see it over there. And then another fire pit area down there. So let's go ahead and let's walk over to the amphitheater. I'm not used to all these hills. All right, I won't bore you with this part. So we will be to the amphitheater in 3, 2, 1. All right, I fibbed. We're actually looking closer at the axe throwing area or tomahawk challenge. So again, we are looking here. It is generally $20, I believe. And you can see they've got the little target set up. And you'll get some instruction on how to throw the tomahawk. And then come out here to proceed to throw it and hopefully get it to stick in some wood. We've done axe throwing before. It's actually pretty fun. Okay, let's go ahead and let's head on over and across the bridge now. to take a look at that amphitheater. And wow, I'm seeing tons of deer tracks. All of this churned up thing looks to be good old deers walking through here at some point. So here you can see we've got a small amphitheater. Up there is a pavilion with a lot of picnic tables and big grills. And then the amphitheater stage here. So you just have to keep your eyes open. They'll have periodic concerts or displays or some sort of entertainment here. And you just look at your calendar inside the lodge on when those events will take place. But there you go. The Unicoi Lodge Amphitheater. All right, let's keep on heading down to the water. All right, down near the lake, they have a volleyball set up. Now, we are here in the late winter, very early spring, so it is not really set up. But I'm sure as you get towards the season, they'll have this really churned up nicely with sand and volleyball set up for you to be able to use. And then they do have rentals for paddle boats, as well as single person kayaks and multi-person kayaks. These are available at an additional fee. And I did take a look. Most of the activities run between $10 and $25 depending on what you're doing. So they have everything from kayaks to air gun shooting. I believe you have to bring your own air guns for that. Again, the tomahawk throw. They have zip lines here, as well as rentals, as we just saw, for kayaks and other type of water items. So let's head down here to the dock. All right, we're out here on the dock area. Looks like we've got some geese out over there, as well as across over there. There's your paddle boats. Looks like it's enough for 4 people. This dock has definitely seen better days. But a very nice, peaceful lake here. They do have firewood for sale here, so if you forget some, you can pick it up here. Keep in mind, since this is a state park, they do regulate that you can only bring in wood that was gathered 50 miles perimeter of the park itself. And then there is a kids play area down there with a big old bonfire pit and stadium style seating. And then across from that, through the trees, we'll see if we can get over there, but there is a fenced in dog park area at the bottom of one of the walking trails. Now we're heading into the campground areas. Now the ones that we're driving through now have full hookups, so you would have water, power, and sewer. This is the big Brook Spur area. We checked when we got in to see if they had any available, but unfortunately they didn't. So this is sites 17 through 29. And when we just started, that was 29, and then we're going down in numbers. To our left over here, you'll see one of the convenience areas. They call it officially a comfort station. I can tell you that I would give it about a 2 out of 10. At least for the guys area, there was hot water and there was decent water pressure, but there was nothing wow about it like some of the sites we've been to. Melinda said there were no...
Well, for the price point that we're paying for this, I was expecting a little bit nicer amenities, especially if you're going to charge for a amenity or a resort fee. If it was just a state park and it had a cheaper rate, then I'd be fine. But if you tack on some fees, I expect a little bit more for my fees.
Yeah, and the fees were like $18.19 a night, but none of the activities are free. Now, I can see if you're in an actual lodge, the lodges and the little cottages do have Wi-Fi in there, so there are a few extra things in the cottages. But as far as the RV campsites still getting hit with the same exact fee, it's not really worth it. I mean, I get you're paying for water and power in some of those fees, but man, yeah, not the best, not the best. All right, now we are heading up to the Hickory Hollow, which are going to be tent sites. And this is pretty much it. So you basically have a place to park and then a couple of different trails to the different sites. So it's not a very far way to get up in this area, but there you go. These are the walk-in primitive tent camping sites. So as you can see throughout this video, there's definitely a lot of hills and a lot of driving to get from loop to loop. So be prepared for that, especially if you need to go to the dump station. All right, so we are now heading up to the Squirrel's Nest, which is hillside platform camping, and this is going to be sites 1 through 16. It looks like you've got parking right over here to the left, and there's a trail that leads down to the platform area. Okay. Yeah, that's not happening. It's about a quarter of a mile hike down and around to get to where those little platform things are, but it's not off the side of the mountain. They're just sort of raised, so you will just have to imagine what they look like, because we're getting ready to hike the falls, and I'm not going to hike over here as well. Sorry, people. I'm not in that great a shape. We're continuing on. This pathway also takes us to the day use area. Ooh. Yeah, this takes us to the day use beach area and Anaruby Falls. So yet again, you can see here lots of roads to get around. So if you have a manual bike, be very cognizant of all of the up and down. An e-bike would be better, or just drive. We'll be coming around the mountain when we come in Georgia. We'll be coming around the mountain when we come. We're making twisty roads and we're heading to the other side of Unicoi Lake State Park. So it looks like this area, as we're going by, there are various picnic shelters that are available for rent, I'm sure. And then it leads back to a restaurant and a day use beach area. So speaking of that day use area, we're going to continue down the road and let you take a look at that. So sit back while we do some twisty turnies, and no, I won't force you to listen to me sing poorly again. All right, next up is the beach house. And this overlooks the beach. And this venue can be rented out for private events. And then, there you go. No lifeguard on duty. But you've got the public area beach swim when it's nice during the summertime. And then periodically throughout the parks, there's lots of little dock areas. So multiple areas to hang out and look at the water, depending on what side of the park you're on. Well, there you go. Nice little lake beach. And then it looks like there's another picnic pavilion that you can rent. That's right there. All right, so we are going to be taking some twisty-turny roads, and we're going to head over to the main lodge area. And for the record, although we've shown you a lot, there was actually more areas that we seem to have missed. More of those oak barrel-looking lodge cottages and a few other camping sites that were spread widely on the other side of the park. But sit back, relax, take a look at the views as we head on over to the lodge. All right, so we are here at the Zipline area, and they have 3 different intensities that you can take. So let's take just a quick look around here and see what we got as far as ziplining goes. One of these days I will get down to the right weight to actually be able to take you guys on one, but let's take a look. So there you go right there. Some of your initial ziplining platforms, and there's one that actually follows the parking lot, and then you can continue onward up and around the area. Looks like we might have a few people who are signing up to get ready to do some ziplining, so maybe we'll catch some of them in action. But let's go take an overlook really fast, because again, this is the Unicoi Lodge, so there are, hotel rooms, if you will, if you're not looking to actually do camping. And then across the street is where our entrance is for the camping resort. So there you go. You can see another zip line leaves basically from this area here back, so I'm sure that's one of the last ones you take to come back to the end. And speaking of ziplining, let's take a look at someone going across the first one. Oh yeah. All right, off to the lodge itself. So again, there are conference halls here that you can use for meetings or some sort of gatherings. Very pretty overlook. And there's the fluffies. What's up, Fluffy Butt? Little Pudgy. And here you go, where you can sign up for your different events. And again, a little bit of a gift shop on this side as well. This is your zipline check-in. And I was talking to the gentleman at the zipline location. Max weight for males, 285. They could possibly push 300. But again, the concern is the weight adds to the speed. Looks like level 1's $49. 6 zip lines, 4 bridges. Level 2 is $79. And then level 3 is the 17 and 7 bridges. And then it looks like over here we do have a Smith Creek Tavern restaurant. Looks like they are open for lunch and dinner. 11:30 a.m. to 1:30, and then 4 p.m. to close. And so you can see the tavern over here. Nice little lodge setup with nice wooden tables, bar, TV, nice little place to hang out. And as we continue, this is the breakfast area only. It looks like it's a buffet style breakfast. If you're staying here at the lodge for an additional cost. And then you've got your fireplaces here. And then there is a lower level with more conference rooms. So, a pretty cool little lodge area.
And that brings this tour to an end. If you're looking to help the channel continue to grow, consider becoming a member. Click that join button to find out more. As always, before you head out, make sure to take a half a second to click that like and subscribe. We'll see you next time on The Scenic Route. Bye, everybody.